1987, Freedom, New Hampshire. A summer camp named after Buffalo Bill Cody. A vast majority of Caucasian boys still in elementary school are wearing dark sunglasses, their hats to the back, and carrying radios on their shoulders. All because of this man. But of course, at the time, he was just 11 years old.
I was at my peak at 11. I really started at 9.
So how did this young boy become the Frank Lucas of the northeastern states?
If Frank Lucas owned New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, I own New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine.
For summers, the parents' organization was powerless to stop him. They would have to team up with unlikely allies to get the evidence they needed to bring him down. But not before Chris left his mark on the campgrounds of the Northeast, unable to get away. Next on Gangland.
He's a hustler, unbound by law. A self-made millionaire with a reckless disregard for the haters.
Yo, 1985, the Bronx, New York. The northernmost borough of New York City, named for its rough and tough neighborhoods. But not Chris's part of the Bronx. Chris was from the upper middle class neighborhood called Riverdale.
You see, when you grow up in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, you conquer the art of English.
Because Chris spoke proper English, he didn't seem to be a threat to Riverdale natives.
See, people in Riverdale swore I looked like Gary Coleman and Webster, and you know, they're not that threatening. So as non-threatening as I was amongst my peers, I still wasn't down.
He was still considered an outcast in elementary school, and that's when he met this man, Andre Big Dre Trenier.
Yeah, I think me and Chris met back in elementary school. You know, he was really into the whole hip-hop thing, and I was kind of like his host to all of that.
But little did they know, there was a plot to destroy them.
Yeah, you know, Chris was like the calm one, and I was always the wild one, so they'd always try and keep us separated, you know. Then the school kind of put us together in the same class with hopes that we'd destroy each other.
But the plan backfired. The two became friends.
You see, Big Dre lived over by Fordham Road, and I was oriented to hip-hop lifestyle. So hanging out with him in Devo Terrace, it was as if I was learning 2 different languages.
Next, Andre Trenier then introduced Chris to this man, Christopher the Percolator Perkel, who is also from the streets of Riverdale.
I looked at our unique combination, and I thought to myself, you know, we could create some damage here.
And then, they were hit with a devastating blow.
We got into so much trouble. To separate me from the crew, I was sent up north.
Up north, to Freedom, New Hampshire, a place called Camp Cody. But little did he know that this devastating blow would soon be his breeding ground for his hustle.
I quickly started to realize how powerful my influence was. I mean, I would walk around campus with my bag of hits and my Walkman, and the other campers really envied my unique style. And the staff and the counselors had no idea what the hell was going on.
But little did they know, in the bag was a product that he would soon sell to his fellow campers, and that would make him and his council millions.
When Chris told me how much of an influence he was having, that's when I thought to myself, we can turn a profit here. So I explained to him how to handle the business.
Kids would walk up to me all the time like, damn, Chris, I need a hit. Can you hook me up? And I would take them over to a safe spot and I would show them the product. I had that Run DMC, that Fat Boys, and that DJ Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. And if they really wanted that new stuff, I had that Big Daddy Kane and that LL Cool J. And if I still didn't have what they wanted, I would contact the Percolator or Big Dre. They were my connects back in the Bronx.
What we would do is, Big Dre would get the tapes, give them to me, and I would mail them saying Riverdale, New York. Because we knew if the envelope said Bronx, New York, that would raise too much suspicion.
See, saying you're from Riverdale sounds a lot safer than saying you're from the Bronx. It was the perfect disguise.
A disguise that would make their thriving business very lucrative.
Yo, we was making a lot of money. I mean, I had Armani sweaters, leather jackets, always rocked a fresh cut.
Hip-hop was all over Camp Cody. It started to spread throughout New Hampshire as well.
See, I was selling it to my friends in Camp Cody, and some of them had friends that lived near the camp, and I sold it to them. And they had friends, and I sold it to them. I didn't care who I was selling it to. I was even selling to our rivals, Camp Robin Hood.
By 1987, hip-hop tapes were showing up all over the streets of New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine.
The little hip-hop they heard was like a half a song off the radio, if radio played it at all, and it was on an old audio cassette. See, our product was coming straight from the source, the Bronx. It was the purest thing they ever heard.
Chris had to be ruthless to those who tested.
I never sold them Boogie Down Productions. That was my ace in the sleeve. You see, if anyone got slick and tried not paying me, I'd battle ram them at the next talent show. I made all the campers and counselors laugh at them. They go run off crying, peeing in their pants. It was really embarrassing. Now they know to pay me.
Yeah, you know, me and Chris used to battle all the time. You know, I whip his ass all the time, but, you know, I had to do that to keep him, you know, lyrically sharp. You know, make him the best that he could be. So I can only imagine what them kids that wasn't used to hip-hop was getting.
August 1988. The parents' organization wanted to take down whoever was infecting their homes with hip-hop music.
Yeah, Popo came after me a few times. You see, I am black from New York, so I understand. But hip-hop came from the 5 boroughs. See, Riverdale is not exactly a borough. Riverdale is in the Bronx. See, the people from Riverdale never want to say they're from the Bronx. And people from the Bronx refuse to acknowledge Riverdale as being a part of the Bronx. So it was the perfect cover for us. So they were thrown out.
They had nothing on him. Chris dodged various bullets, but this didn't stop the parents' organization. Finally, in 1989, they had the key evidence they needed.
The Popo had connections to Tipper Gore, and then they joined forces with Camp Robin Hood. See, the camp director at Camp Robin Hood hated the fact that he found out that Camp Cody Camper infected his camp with hip-hop. So together, they found out that Riverdale is indeed in New York City, in the Bronx, where hip-hop was created. They had me.
Parents' organization rushed over to Camp Cody with the authorities. However, they were too late. The summer was over and Chris had already left from what would be his last summer of camp.
The parents' organization alerted my parents to my extracurricular activities. So, needless to say, there's a warrant for my arrest in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. When my parents found out, they were furious. They got so pissed they sent me up to NEMA.
Even though it came to an end, Chris doesn't have any regrets.
Oh, hell no, man. I still keep in touch with celebrities I've met, the ladies I've dealt with along the way, the hip-hop stars I've met along the way. You see, a lot of people from the hood like to clown me because I grew up in a white neighborhood. I say I'm the reason why hip-hop got into the white community.
If you are what you say you are, a